So, if you're familiar with the healer archetype in Holocure, you probably know that the gameplay loop of healer characters is to turn healing into DPS in some way. Fauna turns healing procs into damage via Guardianry, Mel turns healing into damage via Vampire Bats, and so on and so forth. Iris is an exception, but Iris also doesn't really fit into the gameplay loop of turning healing into DPS. Tokino Sora, the first idol of Hololive, is built around the healer archetype like many others in Holocure. However, she also has a starting weapon which is a worthwhile build around, and as such isn't completely dependent on her healing kit to deal damage like Fauna or Mel. Sora's first skill makes it so that her attacks have a chance to mark an enemy with a target symbol, and those marked targets would take more damage and have a chance to heal Sora a bit when she hits them. The skill does have a limit on how many enemies can be marked, 13, but I frankly have never noticed a limit. I think the limit of 13 might be a reference to the 13 Knights, but don't quote me on that. The point is that when you mark an enemy, you should try to kill them quickly so that you can keep marking enemies over and over. Her second skill, Idol Healing, makes it so that whenever Sora receives healing, enemies that are within a certain radius of her, highlighted by the blue circle around her, will take damage equal to 175% of her attack plus twice the amount of healing she receives. This skill is unique when compared to other skills that convert healing into damage like Fauna's Guardianry, as where Fauna's DPS via healing is determined by the frequency of which she heals, Sora's DPS via healing is determined by the amount of raw healing she gets. As such, many small heals are less valuable on Sora than a singular large heal. Her last skill, Ankimo, summons Ankimo, who walks around damaging enemies and aggroing them off of her. He's pretty useless even by Holocure companion standards, and should only really be used as a means to pick up XP. Sora's primary weapon, Bright Star, shoots a spinning star that lingers on the field a short distance away from her, damaging enemies it hits before disappearing. At max level, she shoots 3 stars that create a big explosion once they disappear. Sora's primary weapon probably has one of the highest damage thresholds out of all the primary weapons in Holocure, which is offset by the difficulty of utilizing it effectively. This is because of the strange way her projectiles fire. To use it, try to kite enemies so that they stand right on the radius of her idle healing skill, as that is the range at which she shoots her stars. When she shoots her weapons, the stars will travel to the range of her skill, and then they will linger there for a short while, and any enemies that touch the stars as they linger will take multiple hits and in turn a ludicrous amount of damage, as compared to when they are hit on the inside of the circle, where they will only take a little bit of damage. You need to get enemies right in the sweet spot of her attack range so that they can take the full brunt of her stars. Try to think of it as the radius of her idle healing skill being a dead zone for her weapon that you are trying to keep enemies out of. For Sora's special, Idle Dream gives Sora wings that damage enemies and boosts her damage and healing for 10 seconds. The ability is a powerful tool for keeping Sora alive and used to be the way for Sora to go infinite, but a nerf to its healing and a rework of Piki Piki Pimon killed that build. Because of how Sora's weapon deals damage on the edge of her idle healing skill, you can think of her playstyle as trying to keep enemies on the edge of that skill to damage them with her stars, and if they get inside you can heal up to kill the enemies that get past the stars and into her idle healing radius. For Sora's skills, because idle healing deals damage based on the potency of her healing and not its frequency, Sora is the one healer character where full meal is an effective item choice as it doubles the DPS of idle healing. Uber Sheep is also great on her as it provides pretty large amounts of burst healing when compared to Nurse's Horns and Band-Aids, rapid small heals, and Uber Sheep can later be converted into Genghis-Khan for even more healing. Uber Sheep just really got a lot more value in 0.6. In order to take full advantage of Sora's primary weapon potential, Headphones is a decent pick, as it will push enemies out of her weapon's inner range where it deals minimal damage. I would also advise picking up the multi-shot stamp if you can find it, as Sora's weapon is one of the few multi-shot weapons that deals DPS through damage rather than fire rate. As such, the stamp will drastically increase the DPS of her main weapon. And despite the rework of Piki Piki Pimon killing any potential of going infinite with Sora's special, Piki Piki Pimon is still a decent item to grab due to how powerful Sora's primary weapon is. For other weapons, I would advise getting a weapon with a weak knockback to push enemies into the range of her stars, like a maxed out Spider Cooking, but don't go too much with them, as a weapon with a strong knockback like Wimmy Water can push the enemies out of the range of her stars. So, that's Sora. She kind of plays like a mix between the old Callie and Fauna. Thanks for watching. Please let me know who you'd like to see next. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos, and happy holocuring.